Before factories, steam engines and smokestacks took over Britain, something huge happened in the countryside. It didn't involve war, kings or revolutions. It was farming. You see, for centuries, life in Britain revolved around a timeless rhythm, the seasons, the soil and the sustenance it provided. But beneath the surface of this seemingly unchanging world, a revolution was brewing, a revolution that would transform not only the British landscape, but also the very fabric of society. This is the story of how the Agrarian Revolution quietly reshaped Great Britain, set the stage for the industrial age, and changed the way people lived forever. Imagine Britain in the 1600s, a patchwork of small, open fields farmed much as they had been since the Middle Ages. Villagers shared the land, their lives ruled by tradition and the rhythms of nature. But change was in the air. New ideas began to filter in from mainland Europe, whispering of different ways to farm, of increased productivity, of feeding a growing population. This wasn't just about new crops, though new crops like turnips and clover, which could replenish the soil, did play a vital role. It was about a new mindset, a scientific approach to agriculture. Farmers started experimenting with crop rotation, moving away from the wasteful practice of leaving fields fallow. They began to see the land not just as a source of subsistence, but as a resource to be managed, improved, and ultimately made more profitable. Now, no story of the Agrarian Revolution is complete without talking about the enclosure movement. Picture this: vast open fields once shared by the community, now being divided up and fenced off by wealthy landowners. This was the enclosure movement in action, a process that dramatically reshaped the rural landscape and the lives of those who toiled the land. On the one hand, enclosure allowed for greater experimentation and efficiency. Farmers could now implement new techniques like selective breeding and invest in their own land without interference. But for many small farmers and rural communities, enclosure spelled disaster. Forced off their ancestral lands, they faced a stark choice: move to the burgeoning cities in search of work, or remain in the countryside as landless laborers, dependent on the whims of large landowners. The enclosure movement, while driving agricultural progress, also fueled social upheaval and laid the groundwork for the Industrial Revolution that was to come. Now let's talk about a true game changer, Jethro Tull and his ingenious invention, the seed drill. Before Tull's invention, sowing seeds was, such back-breaking work, scattering them by hand across the fields. This traditional method was not only inefficient, leading to uneven germination and wasted seed, but also, incredibly laborious. Tull's seed drill, with its mechanical precision, revolutionized the process. Imagine rows of perfectly spaced seeds planted at the optimal depth for germination, a far cry from the haphazard scattering of the past. This simple yet ingenious invention dramatically increased crop yields and reduced the need for manual labor. The seed drill, a symbol of the growing mechanization of agriculture, foreshadowed the technological advancements that would come to define the industrial age. It was a clear sign that the old ways were giving way to new, more efficient, and ultimately more profitable methods. The Agrarian Revolution wasn't a single event, but a gradual, often messy process of change. But its impact was, truly profound. Increased food production led to a burgeoning population, which in turn fueled the growth of cities and provided the workforce for the factories of the Industrial Revolution. New farming techniques and technologies transformed the countryside, leaving an indelible mark on the British landscape. And perhaps most importantly, the Agrarian Revolution marked a turning point in human history, a shift from traditional subsistence-based agriculture to a more scientific and commercial approach to food production. It was a revolution that laid the groundwork for the modern world we live in today. So next time you eat toast, think about turnips and the farmers who planted the seeds for the modern world. Their story reminds us that even amidst the quiet fields, revolutions can take root and transform the course of history. Drop A in the comments if you learned something new. What's one invention you think changed the world more than the seed drill? Like the video, subscribe for more time-traveling history, and we'll see you in the next chapter of the past.